Hello, how have you been? It's another Friday and we're here. My week has been busy. That's the word for it. Busy, back to back busy. I practically had no breathing space, but that's a good thing, isn't it? That means a lot more work on my plate, a lot more things I need to do. And that meant I had a lot more pressure on preparing for the podcast this week. I like to do my research before I come through and, just have a conversation with you whilst I, kind of intermix it with my own personal experiences and that of others that I know. However, I still managed to do just a little bit. I was going to talk a lot more about mental health and domestic abuse, but I decided to stick to dealing safely with your anger. And that's the thing, anger. A lot of people make anger seem to be a negative emotion, but it is actually a positive emotion as well, depending on how you react. Because if God even gets angry, how much more we humans, and the thing is, every emotion that God feels, He made us in His image, so we feel it. He loves, we love. He finds things amusing, we do. He cries when, as Christians, we break His heart. We do too. He gets angry when we do things that He knows are against His will. We do as well. We're jealous. He's a jealous God. We get excited and we have joy when good things happen to us. Same for Him. So do you see how interconnected our emotions are? So I will say to you, if you're going through abuse and you are angry at some point, trust me, don't carry any guilt or don't feel any guilt about it. It is a very, very, very valid emotions, considering everything that you've been through and how you're processing your healing, right? So I just wanted to talk about dealing with it safely so that the anger is not bottled up and doesn't turn you into a bitter person, because the more it stays inside of you, the more the stench, and then it translates into everything else around you. So no, we're not talking about anger from, dealing with anger from abusers. No, we've crossed that line. We know that the anger is always a ploy to control, and we know how to handle it. But the anger within ourselves, how we manage to let this thing happen for so long, and our reactions or non-reactions or inactions because of the fear of consequence of what the abuser will do, will not do. I mean, if you're separate and you're dealing with post-separation abuse, that's also another ballgame altogether. Perhaps I might do an episode on post-separation abuse. I think I have an episode on post-separation abuse in one of the episodes. I'm not sure which episode it is, but when you search through the titles, you'll find it. So, okay, back to anger. Often, people assume that abusers are people who cannot control their anger. They really can, because they don't show every bit of the anger that they show in private in public. No, they cover it up very, very well. What I'm talking about is the anger that you've spent years imbibing and controlling because you didn't feel safe enough to let the anger out, because you knew that the moment you let the anger out, gaslighting was going to come in, more abuse was going to come in, more control was going to come in, because the abuser doesn't want you to have a voice. So then you're so used to bottling up your anger, avoiding conflict, and just staying under the radar because you were in survival mode. Now, as you come out of the relationship, all this anger just comes out, and then it if not managed effectively, it will go a long way to damage you. That's why you have some people who are separated, who are so bitter. They pass on the anger onto their children. They still, insult their spouses. Healing and learning how to manage these things will bring you out of it wholly and wholesomely, to such an extent that you still have your old you back with the experience that you've garnered, and actually think that you are better for it, coming with the growth and everything that comes with it. So some anger is positive. I mean, why can't you be angry because someone has treated you so despicably, be it emotionally, psychologically, physically, mentally, sexually, financially? when you're supposed to be partners in a relationship. Bear in mind that your spouse is not responsible to meet all your needs, but as partners in a relationship, there's a consensus in terms of communicating and who shoulders what burden, and how you work together to kind of carry each other along, because that's what makes it easier. Now, when the burden is completely tilted onto one person, burdening them and making them carry everything that they have to carry, then it becomes a problem, So when we talk about managing the anger that we feel, we don't want you to get rid of it at all. Some anger is positive. That's the kind that leads to positive things happening, like leaving a damaging relationship, helping other victims and survivors, or campaigning for changes in the law to protect victims and survivors more effectively, So other kinds of anger can be negative. That is the kind of anger that leads to negative things happening. This doesn't mean that anger leads someone to hit another person, that's not the anger I'm talking about. But when you're angry and you're not channeling it into a positive way, you are taking it out on the kids, you're taking it out on other people, you're damaging yourself, you're still abusing your spouse. They shouldn't be your worry. You shouldn't even be focused on them. Once you've left, you left. They are secondary. They are not even a factor in your life's consideration. What's the factor is you, your children, the people that are supporting you, and the friendships that you have that are holding your hands through this process, right? So, other kinds of anger, I don't think we should even dwell on it. The kind of anger that gets bottled up inside of you that can lead to a range of problems. Anger builds up and then bursts out uncontrollably at the wrong person, maybe your children, your colleagues, or even people trying to help you, because you are not focusing or looking at the anger and channeling it into a positive space. If you're not healing, you're not growing. If you're not healing, you're not growing. And an unhealed person is going to traumatize the children that you've left the relationship from, and that's going to cause another cycle for someone else to come and fix. If you've left the relationship, please deal with your anger, heal yourself so that you can heal the generations after you. Now, what a lot of people don't understand is when somebody stands up for themselves, they heal everyone that comes after them, because they are armed with knowledge, they are armed with tools, they are armed with an understanding of how the cycle works, and so they can steer and groom their children away from the cycle, which can be cyclical, from the cycle going through the generations, because no one dared to stand up, So yeah, let's talk about it now. The anger turns in on yourself and leads to depression or self-harm. The anger gets stuck inside of you and is recurring as a feeling of bitterness and negativity. And at the end of the day, only you have the key. Only you. People that will talk to you, people that will support you, people that will try to be there for you, they cannot do anything about it. It is only you who has the key to turn and channel that anger into something that will bring you joy, something that will be fulfilling, something that will be giving back from your experiences, learning and growing through it. And what you don't realize is the more that you are learning, you are growing, you are healing, the lighter you feel, because the burden is becoming light. You have tools, you understand the emotions, the range of emotions that are coming with a whole, journey of growth and healing and understanding and navigating the emotions that you feel, the pain, the anger, the hurt, the depression. And those are all very important for your own growth, for your own growth. Sometimes it is a mixture of all of these, and anger that is held in can lead to a range of physical illnesses and psychology. Like, you feel the pain, you feel the hurt, you get migraines, you get headaches. Listen, you need to let go of that anger, so unhealthy rumination is another thing. Let's just sitting down, ruminating on the things that have happened, talking about it in your head, processing it. No, I don't mean processing the situation and, feeling a sense of this was wrong, this was done to me, I've accepted it. Now, how do I move away from it? I'm talking about rumination that is still absorbing the blame and the guilt and the shame. It's unhealthy. So you need to walk away from it, So it is not safe to let your anger out directly to your perpetrator as well. It's important to find ways, because the minute you let out their anger, they grab another tool. They kind of let you feel like you don't want to change, because they are projecting a lot of things on you in order to keep you in servitude and under their thumb and control, so that they can still propagate their abuse. Now, the more dented and demented you look in their eyes, the more they kind of establish control, so they can abuse you more, because now the excuse is that you are not fixed, so they are trying to fix you. You get what I mean? That's just what it is. Abusers will always give you the point. I was trying to correct her. I was trying to say she shouldn't do this. There's no dialogue. There's no conversation. It's more about control. So that is it. Journaling. I can't tell you how much journaling has saved me. Like, it's insane. I look at my growth from when I was processing my thoughts and journaling. I've been journaling for years and years and years. I mean, as far back as when I was in primary school or secondary school, I've been journaling. Sometimes I look at my journals and I laugh, because the things that I used to write used to amuse me. The things that even used to amuse me, my thoughts on love, on music, on politics, so many things that I used to write down. And I still do journal. And even as I journal, I can see the growth, my thought processes, how I process things, because I've done it, in terms of even my anger, my pain. I've done it over the years, and I see the growth. I see the cycle, and it's amazing. So I will urge you to write down your thoughts, get them off your chest, get them onto a paper, in a diary, in letters, things that you don't have to send it to anyone. You can have them there so you can see your growth, or you can even write them out and burn them. By the time that you're done and everything has come out of you, it gives you a sense of calm, letting out the anger through drawing. Those of you who can paint, or you can do that. Talking to a trusted friend or a counselor or therapist. I mean, listen, talking is healing. Talking is the same as writing it down. Some people don't want to write. Some people just want to have a conversation, as I'm having with you. So you have that conversation, then you talk it through. It works, Letting out your anger through exercise. Everybody who knows me knows, like, I used to be such a big buff of working out and pushing. There was something that pushed me. I haven't been able to be regular, I must admit, because there's been a lot going on with me. But I'm getting back to that space where I'm trying to work out twice a week. The only thing that has saved me has been my consistency with the foods that I eat. But in terms of working out, I haven't been consistent. I still feel a little bit unstable in my environment and all of that. So I guess maybe that's why now. Channeling it into positive anger by focusing on positive actions you can take. One of the things that I began to do was this podcast. Initially, I knew I wanted to talk about abuse, but I also wanted to talk about everything and anything. I haven't done much because, the funny thing is, when I started talking about the abuse, their response has been so great and I am loving it. And then the more I talk about it, the more I read, the more I find out things that I need to talk about. So I can't even go into talking about other things. Maybe my next season, I will kind of do 4 weeks of abuse and then 1 season of talking about other things. I love talking about things like, finances, world generation. I love music. You know me and my songs. I love talking about those things. Styling, fashion, I'm in there, my hair, stuff like that. I like to say that I am a multifaceted human being and I love that. So there are so many things that we could talk about. Continuous education. I am an advocate for continuous learning, be it formally or informally. Trust me, it equips you for so many things, so yes, we can talk about those things as well. But channel your anger into positive, focus on cool thoughts, the kind that help you to be calm rather than things that take away from you and drain your energy. And use visualization to. The first time I did the hypnotherapy with my coach, it was so funny because I could feel the thing going out of me, and I was like, okay, so it does work. Visualizations, just watch it float away, smash it away, hit it like a what do you call it, this Mexican thing that they put toffees in it, and children beat it at a party. I've forgotten the name for it. I'll probably look it up, but just watch it float away. You may have heard a lot of people come and talk about forgiveness, forgiving your perpetrator, and when they come and they talk about forgiveness, they sometimes feel like when you say, I've really forgiven the person, they feel as though you have to go back into their space. No, forgiveness is required of us by God, because he says, forgive as I forgive you. But bringing them into your personal space, God didn't even take Satan back into his personal space. And, so he said, no, I'm done with you. And God is a God of love. I feel as though if Satan had even gone to him and said, I'm really sorry I did this, or I am sorry I will not do this again, this coup or coup d'etat that I'm trying to have here in heaven, I am sorry, God would have forgiven, because God is a God of principle, but in this case he said, no, not, you're not sorry, and just go, leave, so forgiveness doesn't mean bring the person back into your space. Pray for them, wish them the best, because so that you can also be released, so that you can also be released. It stops you from holding on to the anger and the bitterness. But for some people, the idea seems inappropriate for something as terrible as abuse. It can be easier to think more in terms of letting go of the anger in your mind. You can imagine handling all the pain and anger back to the person who causes you. You don't need to carry it around with you. I mean, what for? Look at the pain and anger that you've been through, and if you've managed to leave that situation, why hold on to it? Because the more you hold on to not forgiving the person, the more the anger and the pain burden you, and you don't need it. Trust me, you don't. So say a positive affirmations like, I choose peace, I choose to let this anger go, I choose to forgive this person, I wish them well in their space and endeavors, I release all the pain and hurts that they caused me, I'm letting it go, and just let it go. The first day that you do that, you're gonna gray your teeth like, I let them go, but do it for yourself, and if your therapist specializes in anger management therapy, talk to them about it and have a conversation about how to let go of the anger. It's amazing. Get the right support. Like I mentioned, therapy, get the right support. Pray, get the right support. Pray and work. Praying alone will not fix it. Praying will fix the spiritual side of it, but the emotional work that you need to do to get you back into the safe space where this cycle will not repeat itself is dependent on who you speak to in terms of a therapist or a counselor. Counselors are not fully equipped unless they are trauma trained counselors from the church. I don't encourage it. I encourage therapists who understand mental health, trauma. Even some therapists do not have training in trauma. They don't understand the effects of trauma, the PSTD, and all of that. So yes, I will say that meeting other people who have been through something similar, support system. Listen, you need that support system whether you like it or not, because by the time you even open your mouth to explain it, somebody has dealt with it, somebody knows it, somebody understands it, and someone can help you deal better with it. So there are support groups for issues that you might be facing, like depression, like freedom. Just go and talk to people about it. So I will say that anger is hard and is difficult to deal with, but one day at a time, with these theories that I have mentioned and getting the help and support that you need, I think you'll be much, much, much better for it. So, just try as much as possible not to bottle it up, not to feel like you have a, like everything that I have been through, you have a right to be angry, but how you channel it, how you let it go is what will bring you the peace and healing that you're searching for, because at the end of the day, it is your peace of mind that you're looking for. Otherwise, you would have still stayed in that situation. So it is what it is. Let it go. There are some days that you'll be great. There are some days that you will not be great, but at the end of the day, you will get to the point where you will see that your old self is coming back, and you've regained all all the experiences that you've gleaned from this situation have helped to make you and shaped you into a much stronger person. So when on the days that you break down, let the emotions go with you. And I repeat, anger is a valid emotion. Let nobody tell you that it is not. It is how you handle it that will make you. So until same time next week, pass it on. Anger is a valid emotion. Dealing with it and how you deal with it is what will make you. And thank you as always for supporting me, for listening, for pressing play, for sharing. I love you guys, all my listeners. I love you guys. You're amazing. I saw some of you trying to get me on to to do other things, and I am working towards it. But I hear all the suggestions, I feel all the love, and I appreciate every single one of you. God bless you as always. It's been Thinkable. I'm MFA Emmy, your fairy godmother in the podcast world. I mean, I love you and thank you for sticking with me. I said this week was going to be short, but I realized I've said quite a lot. So, yes, it was meant to be a short episode, but of course, talking to you guys is always amazing. So, God bless. Stay safe out there. Corona is still around. It's not gone yet. And be safe. I love you. Take care of each other and you. Always do remember to share the podcast. If you haven't subscribed. If you haven't start. And if you have not followed us on our Instagram page, do follow us, because we're coming with some new changes and all of that. So yes, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. I love you. Take care of each other and you. Bye.